Welcome to this discussion on our blended learning paraswimming course that we have developed in the last few months. The discussion today will take its start in looking at what our general expectations were towards the blended learning course and which challenges, which benefits, and what we would gain from developing a blended learning course, which is new for us in Parasport Denmark and also in paraswimming in Denmark. Before we begin the introduction, we make a small introduction to each of us, where each of us shortly tells how we before have worked with e-learning and how we have worked with paraswimming. I can begin. My name is Thijs Corneliussen. I'm working at Parasport Denmark. I work with education, among other aspects, and have no prior experiences working with paraswimming. Christine, har du lyst til would you like to continue?
Yeah. My name is Christine and I'm a former...
Oh, excuse me, I forgot to give you this.
My name is Christine and I am a former swimmer and also a teacher in regular swimming and also paraswimming. Yeah.
Did you have any experience working with e-learning?
No, not really. No, online teaching, but not e-learning like this one.
Yes.
Yep. My name's Brian. I'm the national coach for swimming for Parasport, and I have previously used e-learning, creating courses and teaching high school students online and also in coach education online. So I have a little bit of experience in this kind of field.
My name is Mads Clausen. I have worked with paraswimming some years ago, and now again I'm assistant coach for the paraswimming team and been part of developing this course. I have earlier taught coaches education, but not with e-learning. It's been quite interesting.
I'm Anne Dorte Andersen, and I'm sports development officer and with paraswimming. I'm a former Paralympian, been to Paralympic Games in swimming, and developing swimming in Denmark. I have no prior experience with e-learning.
Thank you. My name is Bjarne Krag. I have, first of all, no experience in e-learning, but I've working with paraswimmers in parasports for a lot of years. Swimmers in my club, and since 2013, I was national head coach and stopped after Tokyo in 2021. Now I only coach in club, where I right now have one paraswimmer joining the team. So we'll continue working with that.
My name is Tine Ågaard. I have been a part of Parasport Denmark for, 8 years, I think. I have no further experience with e-learning, not at all. But I have been working with this course, and I mostly have experience with mentally disabled swimmers.
Hello, my name is Helle Tøl. I am a former coach in the national team, and I'm also a former swimmer, and I have worked with paraswimmer, and I have swum together with paraswimmer, and I have no further experience with e-learning.
Okay. That's the word. Yeah. Thank you. Before we go into the discussion, we would just like to shortly tell you what the aim was for our paraswimming course. The aim was to give knowledge and skills to trainers who teach beginners and trained paraswimmers. We wanted to give them competences, new knowledge and practical exercises and new tools that will help them in the teaching situation, and thereby creating and strengthening more offers for para-swimmers. Our target group for the course was trainers in regular swimming clubs who wishes to teach beginners and trained para-swimmers, or who already teaches. More specifically, we were focusing on swim school teachers of kids from 6 to 13 and trainers who were teaching on the first competitive teams, typically for kids in between the age of 9 to 13. We had a group of, when we set out originally, we had some learning objectives, and I'll shortly run them through. Our aim was to tell people or make them understand first what is a para-swimmer. Secondly, that you should approach para-swimmers as any other swimmer, but with a raised awareness on the individual. Thirdly, through this, that they should get the competences to teach the kids in the target group. We wanted to give them knowledge about the training and competitive possibilities within the field of para-swimming. We wanted to give them tools and new ways to communicate with and about para-swimmers. We wanted to give them knowledge about how they could include para-swimmers in the club's ordinary activities. We wanted to give them understanding about what swimming and participation in the club's regular activities and other activities, what that means for para-swimmers and what it means for the individual and the team. Eighthly, we wanted to give them knowledge about when it can be a good idea to include para-swimmers in regular teams and when it could be a good idea to include them in separate teams for para-swimmers. We wanted to make the coaches aware that they already had a lot of tools for being a para-trainer, and not only through the knowledge that we had given them through the blended learning course, but also that we were giving them knowledge to stand on top of knowledge they already had. And finally, we wanted to give them an understanding of what it can mean for them and what it can give them to be a coach of people, of para-swimmers. Good. I will now, we had a workshop, this group, in February, that was the basis for the material in both our e-learning course and also the physical learning course. And our general expectations at the time were the following. We thought it would allow the participants to spend less time on taking the course. Often when you have to go to a course across the country, you can spend quite a bit of time traveling. So we thought being able to give people the basic knowledge at their home or where they have access to computers, that would possibly make it more convenient and thereby more attractive for the participants to join the course. We thought it would give the participant the possibility to gain a certain knowledge before they join the physical course, so they all have not necessarily equal, but a minimum knowledge before they enter the common room, which would make it possible for at the physical course to start at a higher level. We were aware and focused on that it was important to make sure that they had done the course, not only that they went through the different slides, but they had actually done the course and that it would be relevant to quiz them in one way or another along the way. We were focused on that it was necessary for us to make a blended learning course and not just only have an e-learning course, because teaching them along the water, but also being with them in a room, having the discussions and the common reflections would be necessary to give them the knowledge that we think would be necessary for them to teach in the end. The good thing about having a blended learning approach is it would be possible to have different elements that were repeated. We could introduce it to them in the e-learning course, and then we could repeat or build on top of that in the physical course. Then it would make it possible. You can say post-corona, we all agreed that people were ready to be taught e-learning wise. And then we had a general wish that our e-learning course, if possible, should be energetic, fresh, and hopefully also fun. So these were some of our general considerations at the time. And now looking back to these, but instead of only looking back to these, thinking about the actual course that we have created, how do you feel that your general expectations to the creation of the blended learning course, primarily possibly the e-learning course, have been the same as what actually turned out? Does anybody want to start? Yes.
First of all, I think especially the e-learning came out much better than I thought. The system we used gave a lot of opportunities to set up teaching in different ways, so it was not just read and watch a video and go on, but there's a lot of different ways of making different slides and showing material in a way that suited each subject in a good way. Teaching on the physical course, I thought was really fun, because compared to my early experience with teaching, where first you have to introduce material and then do the reflection, we could go directly to reflect and go a layer deeper in the material, because they all had the knowledge from the e-learning course, and it gave some really good discussions. And what I like when you have people from different clubs in the room, they talk about how do we do it in our club, how do we do it in your club, and those reflections came very fast, because we could go directly into the reflection part. So in that way, I think it was really good that they came with the knowledge from the e-learning, and we could spend the physical day on the things that can only be done when you're together in the room. And also the being on poolside gave a lot of extra things. But the things we could do on the poolside had more depth because of the e-learning course.
That's interesting. Somebody else give their reflection?
How do you guys who didn't make the e-learning course, how did you experience it when you looked through it?
I just think that one of our aim is to give them some tools to work with. And when I took the e-learning course, it's difficult because I know there were nothing new for me in an e-learning course. So for me it's difficult to know what do they don't know, the participants at the e-learning course. So that can be a little bit difficult to figure it out. Is it too high level? Is it fine? Or is it too easy for them? Is it too boring because they know it already? That's one thing. And the other thing is that we want to give them some tools to use in their practice, in their training, and it's so difficult. I don't think we ended up with that goal in the e-learning course, because it's so difficult to give them just do this, then it will work for everyone, because it's so individual. So what we talked about at when we planned this course, we tried to give them some way of thinking so they could think themselves, how can I solve this problem? So maybe we should change this aim a little bit. Instead of giving them a book of tools or a book of exercises of a book of, then we give them some ideas how to develop it themselves.
So to understand what you're saying, you feel that we haven't done the last bit. Did you feel that we have given them tools?
No, not really.
So we haven't given them tools, but do you feel that we have made them capable
Yep.
of themselves
To
creating the necessary tools?
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
So
But if their expectation was to get a book of tools,
Yeah.
then we didn't end up with the white gold. But
Yes.
but it was not what we meant. We meant that they should give them this way of thinking, so they could solve it themselves. Yeah, as you
Okay.
said. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
And we will also to make a very big book if we want all the tools, because it's so individual. So you can't give tools for situation you don't know in e-learning course.
An interesting comment on this on tools. When we looked through in the e-learning, they all had to fill out what were their expectations, and quite a few of them was expecting tools. But when they, after the e-learning, before the physical course, have to write what they got out of it, none of them said that they're missing tools. They all had reflections that now I know how to figure out to do things, which I think was quite interesting. And I like that.
And as we talked about, it would be interesting to speak to the participants and to hear them. Was it, do they need the tools still, but they also gain some knowledge they didn't know that they were gonna get? Or do they now feel less of an desire to have the tools because they're now capable of creating the tools themselves? So that's one thing we were also aware of, that to gain the knowledge, we have to ask them, so we don't conclude on what we think they mean, but on our actual knowledge.
And another reflection was also, we had discussion last week, the saying that if we gave them 10 tools, would they go home and only use those 10 tools? Which could be a danger, because 10 tools would not cover everybody, like you also said. So we could discuss, is it a goal for them, for the course to give tools, or is it a goal for the course to give the tools to how to make tools?
Yeah, so I think what's important is that you don't give them tools, but you give them ideas on how to do the tools. Also because it's very different, the age of the kids and the swimming pool, and if there's noise around the swimming pool and other stuff. There's a lot of other factors in teaching. You can't get a program that you can use all over. So you need ideas on how to develop a program that works or fits in your pool. Yeah, but I thought the e-learning course was it gave me inspiration, and I think you need to do the e-learning before the course also, like some of you said, because you need to reflect on the stuff in the e-learning course, and where everybody's different. Some would really like to have a book of tools, and others would just like the inspiration. But it sets like the ground, or how you say it, to get the inspiration to develop something in your own club.